Hello and welcome to the start of a brand new season from our Newcastle challenge on FM19 Touch. Quite a few of you asked for another season, so here we are. We're going to do one more year just to see where we can take this Newcastle side. We're at the first day of the season, and remarkably we've been moved back to Friday night for TV, because what better way is there to start the Premier League season than Burnley v Newcastle? Now, normally that would be a joke, but with our Newcastle side, we might well be entertaining this year. We're going to stick to a similar tactic, but we've got a few signings to talk about as well. As I mentioned in the channel update last week, we are going to do things slightly differently this year. I don't want this to just be another one of those series where we have a few games off camera and then a live com. I want to do something completely different to keep myself interested. And with the way FM Touch works, it allows us to go through games more quickly. So we're going to do this more in a blog style update, a bit like if you were writing on a forum, as I used to when I was a teenager on the Sports Interactive one, doing careers that way. So we're going to move a bit closer to that side of things. Today will be a bit more traditional as we've got the first game of the season, but after that we'll probably only do 3 or 4 episodes from this season with big moments in time, such as if we get to a cup final, if we get to the end of the season there's something huge to play for, with huge updates about things off the pitch. So into today's episode, most importantly we've had the whole summer transfer window, and remarkably this year we have made a profit. We've sold 76 million's worth and bought in 73. We'll deal with the ins in a minute. There's a couple of names that stand out, but we'll go through all the outs first. There was so much rubbish at the bottom of the squad. Some of the transfers were pre-agreed, and a few of them we just had to get out when they returned from loan. So lots of them on the way. Ki Sung-yong, who was a backup last year, 14 million to Leicester. Fabian Schär, 6 million to Brighton. Dubravka, 8 million. Manquillo, 5, all to Premier League sides. A couple of free agents. They were youngsters, we're not going to mention those. Federico Fernandez and Mo Diarmi went to France. Dwight Gale to Sheffield Wednesday in something that's going to be remarkable in a moment for you. Hosselu was pre-agreed. Rob Elliott's out on loan again. His wages are being paid by Watford. Henry Saive we got nearly 10 million for. A couple of loanees from the youngsters. And then Atsu and Viatri round off the window. But the remarkable thing about Gale and Viatri in particular is they've gone to the 2 Sheffield clubs, and if we take you to the competition this year, both of them have been promoted to the Premier League. It's absolutely remarkable, something you probably don't see that often in the main game, the 2 Sheffield clubs coming up the first season, or even one of them to be honest. So I thought that was pretty entertaining, and as I'm recording this, and as this video comes out in fact, I'm currently on my way to Sheffield as my beloved Luton Town are playing Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup tomorrow, who have just appointed Steve Bruce. So lots of news relating to Sheffield, we'll leave them alone for a little while now. But let's go back to the ins. 3 or 4 instances where we were very much adding quality rather than quantity, and then a couple of good opportunities that came up to bolster the squad without too much financial expenditure for the club. So first is one you've all heard of. Ryan Sessegnon, the young winger at Fulham, can play left back and left wing naturally. A really good young player, and at just 19 years of age could develop further too. We managed to keep Kennedy on loan for another year, and we've still got Dummett at left back, so he'll probably be the first backup for both of those positions and get plenty of football in the Premier League. Next along the list is Nick Pope. We needed a better backup keeper than Dubravka. He really struggled when Butland was out last year. Pope was on the transfer list and the perfect answer to that. Just under £12 million, good in the sweeper keeper role, and will be competing with Jack Butland just as he was on England international duty in real life for the first team shirt. Then the next 2 were very much opportunities we couldn't miss to bolster the squad. We needed a centre-half badly. We just had the 2 starters, Clark and Lascelles, left. Connor Cody, my namesake, came in for £5 odd million. He was on the transfer list at Wolves, less than 20 grand a week on the wages, and just the perfect backup you could want. Good leader, very determined, he's going to be an excellent trainer, and very much a good character to have at the club, as well as a wonderful surname. Moving on to Matt Doherty, the other one from Wolves, on the transfer list for a similar amount of money. We needed a backup right back. Manquillo wasn't good enough. He was unhappy and he was on quite a bit of money. So Doherty's earning less, he's slightly better and he's more natural in the wing back role. So it ticks all the boxes and another good backup for not much money. Then came the biggest signing of the window. It was before we saw the one below, but Timo Werner from RB Leipzig. He's a really good young striker, a German international at 23 years of age, and he's going to be an absolute superstar for us. I don't know if we're going to play him in the pressing forward role yet, as some teams struggle to get goals with it, but he's definitely going to be our number one and will get a chance to shine for us. He's our highest paid player by far on 100 grand a week, but he absolutely deserves it, and I hope he's going to earn it as well. A really good player, and I couldn't be more happy with the signing, especially for 32 million, which in today's transfer market isn't a huge amount. Then possibly an even better deal, one of 3 or 4 players we tried to sign on a free, Danny Welbeck. He's just going to be a backup striker and a backup on the left wing. Just over 30 grand a week, no transfer fee involved, and if we can keep him free from injuries, he may well be a good signing for us. A really good option to have off the bench, something we didn't have up front last year, and I hope he'll be able to do well for us, and most importantly, stay fit. That leads us on to a couple of other stories about free agents we tried to sign. I'm going to take you to them just so you can see what I mean. First of all is Chris Smalling. He was released by Manchester United. It was going to be a free signing for us. We needed a centre-half, as we mentioned. It looked like the deal was in the bag. And then at the last minute, Real Madrid came in for him. And he has now gone off to Spain to play for the Galacticos. Could you imagine that happening in real life? Probably not. One of the other ones we tried to get in, we needed a backup left back, and probably still do to be honest, was Alberto Moreno from Liverpool. He was released and we tried to get him in. It looked like it was going to be done, but unfortunately he went back to Atletico Madrid. And the last one we missed out on, again released by Manchester United, was Andreas Pereira, a really decent player. He was released by them, and unfortunately he picked Everton over us. Probably the only choice that was understandable and slightly realistic. He's on 60 grand a week there, and we probably couldn't compete with that for a backup midfielder. But our last signing, just in the middle of July, we needed that 4th centre-half, and this one's probably good enough to displace Kieran Clark. Rob Holding from Arsenal, a better player on the ball, a really good centre-half across the board, and he'll definitely be competing for a first 11 place. Again, the wage contribution's just 10 grand a week, and over the season, if he plays first team, we're only going to be paying 2.5 million, which seems like a really good deal, considering how many years you normally get out of a player. So that's all the summer work, plenty of remarkable things going on in the transfer window and in the league structure, but we've got a first game of the season to worry about on TV. Let's get into it. We'll pick a team together. We haven't gone through it yet, so let's have a look at who we're going to have. We'll try and keep the team fairly familiar for now. We don't want to integrate all the new signings at once, just so there's plenty of harmony in the team. That means Butland's going to be in goal. He's back up to natural in that sweeper-keeper role. Now he's been training more regularly since his injury. On the left of defence, we haven't got any changes. Benoit's still our backup because we haven't been able to sign players. We had a deadline day move for Jack Grealish that fell through just because they weren't able to sign a replacement. And as a result, we're one player short in that attacking region. But we have got 2 players in every position, even though some of the 4th choice backups at centre-half and centre midfield aren't as strong. So we've kept Isaac Hazen, who we loaned out last year. He's nowhere near as good as the 4 we had last season, but as a 4th choice, he'll just about do the trick. On the right of defence, we have DeAndre Yedlin. We're not bringing Doherty in yet. Again, we don't want to risk unsettling the balance, and we'll keep the 2 centre-halves in as well. So Rob Holding will have to stick to the bench, as will Matt Doherty, and Nick Pope can go on there as well. Why not? If we need to replace him, we will, but I think he'll be alright. Ryan Sessegnon's definitely going to be on the bench too, as we keep the same midfield wingers as last year. Kennedy on the attacking left, and Matt Ritchie in the right of midfield. We very almost sold Matt Ritchie. We had a £33.5 million bid from Crystal Palace. He's a 29-year-old right midfielder and he's not particularly special, but with Grealish's deal falling through, the same then happened with Ritchie's. It's a bit of a shame really, because Grealish was just £10.5 million and we would have made a huge profit out of that. We're going to make one slight change in midfield. Shelvey will play with Sissoko, only because Drinkwater's been injured until recent days, and you can see he's not very match fit, so we'll just keep him on the bench and ease him into the season. Ross Barkley will continue in attacking midfield, and in fact it looks like there's going to be no new signings, with the exception of Timo Werner, who I have to start up front. The last 2 subs will be Ayoze Perez and also Danny Welbeck. It covers just about all the positions we could need, and I think we'll be strong going into the season. So the only players that aren't going to be in the first 2 choices are Muto, who's going to be the 3rd striker, and Longstaff, who's going to be a cover across all of midfield. But other than that, we're pretty much as we were last year, with the exception of a little bit of quality up front. And with that magical added ingredient, hopefully we'll be well on our way to the top. We'll go to a controlling mentality as it's not one of the big 6 teams, and hopefully we'll be able to get a result today and not face early season disappointment. Let's get into it and see what we can do. The classic 4-4-2 for Burnley, lots of familiar names there. Heaton, Tarkowski, Cork, Barnes and Wood, Mees at left back as well. So pretty much all of the ingredients from the spine of their regular team. You know what we're playing already, let's get into the first half. Werner does stay as a pressing forward, it's the decision we made. We don't want to mess with the tactic too much early on, we just want to give them a chance to succeed, as they did so well last year. 10 minutes gone and not much is happening. There we go, no highlights yet, but I should have sold him. Matt Ritchie's picked up a knock already, and it means Sissoko's moving over to the right-hand side. He's completely comfortable there, so it won't harm us too much today, but a long injury to Ritchie does narrow our options in midfield slightly. Drinkwater comes on as the box-to-box, and we'll get back into the game. It's half time, we've just dropped back to balance because we're getting absolutely outplayed by Burnley. It seems like there's lots going on, although we haven't seen any highlights at all, so they can't have been that good chances. But it's Burnley with a kick-off in the second half, and maybe we will see a shot in this one. Tarkowski's got the ball at the back, and I just fear now the challenge is done. Is the momentum gone, and are we going to struggle this year? And we could end up having a worse time than last season, where we took over in that perilous position. An hour gone, and it's still goalless. But we've got a throw on the right now. Do we finally get a highlight? Barkley knocks the throw down for Sissoko. Into Barkley again. We got used to his specials last season. Can he do one again? Of course he can. It's Ross Barkley from the edge and he puts it in the top corner of the net. A wonderful goal. Very much against the run of play, but we've got the lead with just over an hour gone. Just 15 minutes to go, no more highlights since. The only one of the match has been our goal. I've just seen they've signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, and their new signing Saive from us has come on too. We've changed Werner to the complete forward. It's not made much of a difference. Welbeck will come on for him, and I think that's his preferred role anyway. What else can he do up there? Not a great deal, so we'll leave him at that. And I'd quite like to get Sessegnon on as well, so we'll take Kennedy off for him. A couple more debuts, and we'll integrate a few more as the season goes on. Rob Holding may displace Clark eventually, but while we're keeping clean sheets, that doesn't matter. And I was nearly forced to eat my words, as Mee had a free header at the back post, but he's put it over the bar, and our clean sheet is still intact. A couple of minutes to go, and we're going to drop to cautious now, as Brady puts in another corner for them. Tarkowski heads it in, and scrap that, back to balanced. We've wasted the 3 points in the last minute, and we've just got to hold on for the one in stoppage time, and risk of ruining our first day of the season. It's 1-1, and you can't say they haven't deserved it. We've been much better in the second half, but over the course of the game they've done okay. A disappointing start in the circumstances. We would have taken it at half time, but when they score in the last minute, it's always frustrating. 1-1 though, not too bad, and we get a point on the board in our first day of the season. We'll quickly look at what was said about the game. We were denied by the late goal. Barkley scored another special though, but this is the big one. What's Matt Ritchie's injury? 2 to 3 weeks. That's fine, we can live with that. He'll only miss a couple of games, as it's just 1 a week until the international break. It might mean we have to play a youngster in the Carabao Cup, but I'm not too worried about that. Barkley impresses as always, because he keeps scoring from 25 yards, and long may that continue. So as we've mentioned, because this is going to be blog style updates, we're going to leave it a lot longer this time until we come back. We'll probably only do 4 episodes over the whole season, so I may be looking at the start of December there, where we've got the likes of Tottenham and Man United. So that may be the next episode, unless anything remarkable happens in the meantime that I just can't miss. I've just noticed after the start, the next couple of games are okay, and then we've got Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal and City back to back. That is going to be horrendous, and we could be near the bottom after 2 months. But that will be all for this episode. If you're happy for the fact we're back for another season, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you think of our summer work. Have we let a few too many go, or are we going to be okay once the season settles down? Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, The Head Coach, where we work under a director of football with no say in transfers or contracts. That's the journeyman style save, unlike Part of the Furniture, our other series, which is the one club story with Torquay United. We're taking them from the lowest playable league to the top of English and European football. There's weekly content every Friday from my FIFA 19 lower league career with Crew Alexandra, as well as this series for the next 3 or 4 weeks, out at the slightly earlier time of 3 PM, whereas all my other videos are at 4:30 every day. But a massive thanks for watching this one as always, a thumbs up for the new season, and we'll see you next time.